seem to get my camera to go brilliantly clear. Is that better? Oh, anyway, it's Thankful Thursdays, and this is me, Rachel, and I'm here with Kel. I'm really busy again this week, but I have had time to think about the question that we're doing, because I thought about it last week. As you can see in my room, oh, look how bare it's looking. It's looking very, very bare because I've been stripping walls and packing stuff away and sorting everything out for when I move to London. So yeah, I've been really busy with that, and I've just been out for lunch actually, and I really need to write my assignment because it needs to be in tomorrow. I have written it, I've just not written it up. So yeah, I figured I'd make this and then I'll probably get into my pyjamas and get really comfy and get my work done. This week, Kel and I are going to follow up a question which came after I made the video last week, and the girl has asked me, how do you stop yourself from getting too attached to therapists? And that she said, I find that anyone who shows the slightest amount of care, I almost become obsessed with, even though I think that's the wrong word. I don't quite understand why I did it, and I do it at school too with teachers, and I don't know if it's a common thing or if it's just me. It can influence my behaviour and my mood around that person, because I can become upset just to gain their attention. It's a difficult struggle to keep myself in check and be honest while she's trying to deal with the eating disorder too. I felt this was like a really, really valuable question, and I think that the ideas around attachment and therapists, it is a really interesting one actually, and I have quite a few mixed opinions on it, and I think what I want to say now is, you know, my kind of bottom line with it is that, you know, to be able to be successful with recovery, I do believe you need therapy, and I do believe that a massive part of your therapy is the therapeutic relationship that you have. And so I think it's a very common thing that you're experiencing. I think you could speak to a lot of people about their relationships with therapists, nutritionists, psychiatrists, whatever kind of person you're seeing in order to get support and therapy and help. And I guess teachers too play that kind of, depending on your age obviously, but if you're still within the school environment, teachers play a very important part in your life, and they have a role which is, you know, incredibly influential on how you continue to develop. And maybe a lot of people who go into teaching don't really realise that value, or maybe they do and that's why they do it. My mum's a primary school teacher, and you know, and having obviously been through school myself, you know, there were teachers who I favoured and teachers who I felt understood me and who were supportive of me. I mean, you're with them 5 days a week. You know, you are going to become very close to them and you're going to trust them. And I guess that teaching can be anything. I mean, in sport, I was a professional gymnast for a great number of years, and my major attachments were with my coaches and with the people who were helping me to develop my gymnastics, and so I guess they had a massive impact on me as well. I'm going to keep this focused to therapists. I just wanted to make aware that these issues can come up in different circumstances, especially when you are younger and you're developing and your personality is still developing and all of these things. In terms of therapists, I've had two very, very important therapists. One was a lady who I saw during some of the most ill times that I had. I saw her for probably from around 2001, beginning of 2002 until the end of 2005. I then began to see my current therapist, Jai, who's also my psychiatrist, and she's a psychotherapist, so I kind of see her for both. We have an hour session every week, and I've been seeing her since the end of 2005, and now is mid-2009. I'm very attached to Jaya, incredibly so. I think an awful lot of her. I care deeply for her, I love her, and I guess we have the kind of relationship that has been invaluable really to me and to my recovery, because if we didn't have the relationship we do, and if I didn't trust her to the degree that we do, I don't believe I would have been able to deal with some of the things that I've dealt with, and I do not believe that I would would be able to have achieved the degree of recovery that I've achieved today. It's been incredibly important to me. She's always been there for me. It's always been a place I could turn to away from my family home, away from my friends, away from my relationships. It's a safe place. It's an incredibly safe place. In terms of what the person who posed this question is asking, I think that when you've been very poorly, and I'm going to say when you've maybe been in abusive situations as well. I myself have been in an abusive situation. It wasn't as a child, it was as a late teen, and it wasn't to do with anybody in my family, but it was somebody I cared deeply for and who cared for me. And I think, you know, you become very, very vulnerable after something like that has happened. You know, you go through hell with that person, what they put you through. And I think that if then somebody is showing some sort of kindness and understanding, it's perfectly normal. This is my opinion, you know, people might not agree with that, but I think it's perfectly normal that you almost are drawn to that person and you want to be around that person. I'm not going to use the word obsessed, because it can be misunderstood for people being sort of, you know, completely like, I can't think of the word, like fixated with somebody. But I do think a degree of curiosity, a degree of wanting to know more about them, of wanting to spend more time with them, of wanting to be in their company is very, very normal. With my first therapist, I had quite a lot of insight into her world, her children and that sort of thing. And it was kind of nice, and we had a lot of interests that were the same. And I guess, I was very attached, but I knew that when the day came that I would be able to make the break from her. And the same is happening now with my current psychotherapist. I'm about to move down to London, which means I will still see her, but it's not going to be as frequent, and it's going to be a lot more difficult. And I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified. I adore her, and I'm going to find it very, very difficult to not be in that safe therapeutic relationship every week. But you know, I think that when you really are struggling, that these things do affect you greatly. They do affect your mood. They do affect, you know, how up and down you are. You know, because this person becomes somebody who, you know, you're learning to trust, and if they're showing you affection and such, it feels nice. And I guess after you've been hurt, or even the illness, even if you've not endured any type of abuse, you want somebody to take this away. You want this all to go away. And if you find somebody who can eliminate just some of that pain, that is perfectly natural to be drawn to them. My advice in terms of therapeutic relationships, and I stand by this, and you know, I hope to be a therapist in the future myself, is that you need to become dependent to be able to become independent. You need to learn to depend on somebody before you can then take those steps. Read up on attachment theory. There's some really good books out there. John Bowlby, you want to read all about him, Mary Ainsworth, those sorts of books, and it will help you understand this whole idea surrounding a secure base. And I think that what's finally happening with me now is that I do have a secure base. I know my home is always here, and if I need to come back, I can come back. My best friends, I have, you know, sort of 4 best friends. I know that no matter what, they are always going to be there for me, regardless of anything. They're going to be there for me. And I know that my psychotherapist is, and that has taken years to build. And you know, if you're in a position now with your therapist and you feel like you're over dependent, or you feel like the attachment is too much, talk about it in therapy. Take it to your therapist, because that's what I do. And you know, by exploring, you know, a lot of those fears, you can really get underneath some of the key sort of roots to your eating disorder as well, by understanding some of those attachment behaviours and why you feel afraid and why you feel this need for this person. Talk about it, because it's okay to have needs. It's okay to need other people. It's okay to be dependent on somebody, and it's okay to feel that they comfort you. That's okay. It doesn't, you know, it makes you a human being, and it's okay. I'm going to cut this now because my time's running out and I don't want to make 2 videos like last week. But I think it's a really interesting topic, and hopefully maybe we can cover this a little bit more. Okay guys, bye!